Hello. If you are with us right now, it is likely that you feel the same thing many people experience in their mature years, a certain standstill. Outwardly, everything may appear to be fine, but that inner spark, that essential force that drove you to create, conquer, and push forward, seems to have dulled. We seek success in work, in family, in finance, using logic, planning, and willpower. But why is it that sometimes, even with a perfect plan, we lack that internal fire, that untamed energy? We're talking about what connects passion and success, the life force and money, and this is much deeper than it seems at first glance. If these questions resonate within your soul, if you're tired of searching for an external source of drive and want to reawaken your inner engine, you have come to the right place. Our channel is devoted to deep psychology, the kind that does not offer quick fixes, but provides true insight and long-lasting results. We are here for those ready for a serious talk about themselves and about life. Therefore, if you value wisdom and depth, please support us by liking this video and subscribing to our channel so that this vital information reaches those who need it. Today, we will turn to the legacy of the man who first dared to name the most powerful force driving the human being. We'll talk about Sigmund Freud. He was not just a doctor studying the oddities of the mind. He was a genius who discovered that at the root of everything we do, from creating great works of art to earning large sums of money, lies the same psychic or soul energy. He named this energy the life force, that primal, biological drive that demands expression. It is precisely this force that compels us to want, desire, possess, and achieve. For people 40 years and older, this topic is more relevant than ever. At this age, we often face a crisis of meaning, where outside achievements no longer provide the same satisfaction. We no longer just need to prove our worth. We need to find a way to live fully and passionately, using our inner power. And Freud gives us the key to that force. He showed that your success is not just the result of intelligence. It is a direct consequence of how you manage your inner passion. Freud taught that this primary energy, which is the source of our passion and desire, cannot be expressed directly and without control. Society, culture, upbringing all impose limits. Not all of our desires are approved, and not all can be realized right away. And here lies the secret to the success of geniuses and wealthy people. When this powerful, yet socially restricted force does not find a direct outlet, it does not vanish. It seeks other paths. And Freud explained that the human being possesses an amazing mechanism, the redirection of that energy. If we cannot direct it toward one aim, we transform it into another aim, one that is socially acceptable and approved. This transmutation, this conversion of the primal drive into creative or intellectual activity, he called by one name. In essence, he argued that any powerful success, whether it is a scientific breakthrough, the creation of a business empire, or masterpiece, is the result of this redirection of the primary life force. For example, a person who could not fully realize their thirst for possession in personal relationships might direct that unsatisfied, turbulent energy toward possessing great assets or founding an influential company. All their inner force, which demanded release, shifts into the work sphere, making them tireless, obsessed with success, and incredibly productive. Energy that might have been spent on a fruitless search for love or passion becomes fuel for success in life. Freud showed that the stronger the inner tension, the more powerful the drive toward external achievement can be if we learn to transfer that force correctly. This is why we see geniuses and great workers who often did not have happy personal lives. They did not spend that life energy on small interactions. They directed it toward creation and construction, achieving worldwide acclaim. The secret to success, according to Freud, is not to suppress this energy, which leads to inner conflict and sickness, but to learn to manage it, transforming it into the most effective, highly paid, and respected type of activity. We established that, according to Sigmund Freud's teaching, the key to success, creativity, and even financial gains lies in managing our primal life force. We found that this energy, when it cannot be expressed directly due to societal limits, does not disappear. Instead, it seeks alternative routes, redirecting itself into socially productive activities. Now, we must understand exactly how this transformation happens and why it leads to success and income for some, but results in ruin and mental ailments for others. The redirection process that Freud discussed happens within our inner world, in the soul, which, in his view, consists of three main parts. Imagine your soul as a company where there is a director, an employee, and a powerful, yet erratic, energy storehouse. The director is our conscious mind, the part responsible for logic, planning, and interaction with reality. It always thinks about the rules and consequences. The employee is our inner judge, formed under the influence of parents, school, traditions, and society. It holds all the prohibitions, moral norms, and ideals. It is this judge who constantly says, "You cannot do this. This is not acceptable. This is improper." It is this judge that creates the inner tension. And finally, the energy storehouse is our primal drives. It knows nothing of logic, rules, or morals. It simply wants to live, enjoy, and possess. All our power, all our passion resides here. Success and wealth arrive when the director, the conscious mind, forms an alliance with the employee, the inner judge, to trick the energy storehouse. The essence is to take this immense, passionate force, which is initially aimed at pleasure, and convince it that the best and most potent way to obtain the desired pleasure is through achieving a goal approved by society. How does this work in practice, especially in relation to money? Freud saw a connection between money and this life force because money is one of the greatest symbols of power, possession, and safety in our culture. When someone feels inadequate or unsatisfied in the personal sphere, their thirst for power and possession can be transferred into a thirst for accumulating resources. The energy meant to conquer a partner is directed toward conquering a market. The desire for control over one's own feelings turns into control over assets. Let us consider real-life examples that you have surely seen in your surroundings. We often see business people who seem tireless, even obsessed with work. They work 12 hours a day, do not take holidays, and their earnings grow exponentially. Freud would say that their success is not just hard work. It is a powerful redirection. For such a person, work and earnings become not just a means of living, but a way to release inner tension. Every new project, every big deal, every sum earned is a substitute satisfaction, a temporary release of tension that was not realized in the primary sphere. Their dissatisfaction fuels their success. But here lies a trap, especially relevant for people in their mature years. If this transformation happens unconsciously, we become slaves to that process. We work not for joy or meaning, but to avoid inner conflict. And so, by the time they reach 40 or 50 years, a person might discover that they are very successful and wealthy, but completely empty inside because their life force was directed not where their conscious mind wanted, but where the inner judge cornered it. There is money, but there is no peace, passion, or joy. This is precisely why, for your success to be not just a compensation, but a genuine realization that brings satisfaction, you must learn to manage this energy consciously. You need your director to take control of this redirection process. How to do this, we will discuss in the next part. For now, remember, your passion, your force is not lost. It is simply waiting for you to direct it from the dead end of neurosis into the flow of creation. We have established that our life force, according to Sigmund Freud, is an inexhaustible source of success, but only if we learn to redirect it consciously. In the last part, we discussed the danger of unconscious redirection, where a person becomes a slave to their inner judge, seeking wealth or power not for its own sake, but to relieve inner tension. The result is success is present, but satisfaction is absent. Now, our task is to understand how to take control of this powerful flow and use it for genuine success in life after 40. The main question we must ask is, how do we make redirection a conscious choice rather than a neurotic defense? Freud emphasized that the key to this lies in awareness. If you're not aware of where your inner energy is truly being directed, it will continue to operate according to old, unconscious scripts. And these scripts, as a rule, are formed by childhood traumas and prohibitions. For example, if you were forbidden to express anger as a child, that energy of anger did not vanish. It could have transformed into a constant need for competition and the destruction of rivals, which generates income for you, but robs you of inner peace. To manage this force consciously, you must conduct an inner inventory. As a mature person, you need to look honestly at your current sources of motivation and ask yourself, is my desire to get this position or this large contract a genuine aspiration for development? Or is it just an attempt to prove my worth to parents who are no longer around? Or is my passion for accumulation a search for security? Or is it a replacement for an unrealized passion for intimacy? Once you have identified the source of tension, you can proceed to the conscious switching. Freud observed that the redirection process is especially successful when the energy is directed toward activities that bring social value and recognition. Why? Because recognition from society is one of the strongest ways to satisfy the primal need for acceptance and love that we could not get in childhood. Imagine two paths. First, a person feeling internal dissatisfaction goes to a casino and spends money, gaining instant but destructive tension release. This is a neurotic discharge. Second, a person feeling the very same dissatisfaction starts writing a book, creating an educational course, or launching a social project. They invest all their unrealized passion, all their aggression, as energy for action into creation. This activity requires discipline and does not bring immediate results. But when society recognizes their book or project, they receive that deep, lasting satisfaction and acceptance that heals old traumas. This is productive redirection. For us, in the mature years, this is especially important. You have likely already achieved a certain level of material success. The next stage is to redirect the life force not just into getting money, but into creating a legacy, influence, and meaning. This is the highest form of redirection, where the energy that previously served to satisfy personal neuroses begins to serve society, bringing you even greater income and, most importantly, inner peace. As soon as you learn to recognize in yourself the surge of this powerful, passionate energy, which can manifest as restlessness, sleeplessness, irritability, or a sudden obsession with something, you must not suppress it. You must consciously ask it, into what socially useful and highly paid project can I now transfer this force? This is the secret method of geniuses, to use their internal dissatisfaction as rocket fuel for success. We have traveled a deep path, starting with Sigmund Freud, defining our life force as the foundation of all success. We analyzed how this primary, passionate energy, when restricted by society, is unconsciously redirected into the pursuit of money and power. Finally, we learned to become aware of this process so as not to become slaves to neurosis, but to consciously direct this force toward creation. Now is the time to integrate this knowledge into your mature life. For us, in the mature years, it is important to remember that Freud saw redirection not just as a tool for success, but also as a way to achieve mental health. Neurosis, in his view, is always the result of this powerful energy getting stuck between desire and prohibition, finding neither a direct nor a constructive outlet. It begins to work against ourselves, turning into anxiety, sleeplessness, unexplained aggression, or even physical ailments. Therefore, the main conclusion you should take away from this conversation is this: your unrealized passion is not a problem, but a resource. It is the fuel waiting to be directed into the right channel. But how do we integrate this force so that it brings joy and not just compensation? Firstly, practice daily awareness of tension. Acknowledge that the restlessness you feel when you're not busy, or the obsession with which you try to control events, is your unused life force. Do not fight this feeling. Instead, use it as a signal that it is time to direct that energy into work, creativity, or physical activity. Do not suppress, transform. Secondly, choose socially valuable goals. The most stable and deeply satisfying results come from redirection that not only enriches you, but also serves society. Earning $1 billion just to spend it can be a neurotic goal. Earning $1 billion to establish a science fund or build a school is the highest form of redirection, bringing both income and meaning. In the mature years, when you begin to think about your legacy, this choice becomes particularly crucial. Thirdly, do not forget direct expression. Freud never called for the complete suppression of primary drives. He spoke of balance. The conscious and healthy expression of your passion in personal relationships, in intimate life, relieves excessive tension. This leaves less extra fuel for neurosis, allowing you to direct only the part of the energy needed for productive success into work, rather than for a desperate escape from yourself. The life force that Freud discovered is not a curse, but the greatest gift. It connects us to our biological beginning, to the desire to live, create, and dominate. And it depends only on you whether this force becomes the source of your anxiety or the source of your greatest success and authentic joy in the mature years. You already possess everything needed to not just drift along, but to consciously manage your energy, achieving success with pleasure and meaning. We learned that the life force is the fuel for success, and that geniuses use redirection, sublimation, to achieve goals. The healthy path to success lies through conscious management of this energy and its direction into socially valuable, income-generating projects, rather than into a neurotic flight from inner conflict. Your age is not a time of decline, but the time for the greatest and most meaningful redirection. And in closing this deep conversation, allow me to quote Sigmund Freud himself, whose ideas gave us this key to inner strength. The task of making the human being happy was not included in the plan of creation. Remember that happiness and success are not a given. They are the result of your conscious work and choice. If you're ready for this work, if you want to continue exploring the depths of your mind and use this knowledge to transform your life, please support our channel with your approval and subscription. This will allow us to continue these important and deep conversations.